Good evening, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google+. This is Richard N, back for your third and final video blog of the night for Monday, August 29th, 2016, around 7:34 in the evening in Billerica, Massachusetts. Sun's going down. It was a good day out today. Little bit sticky, but soon the crickets will be out, and then the rabbits. And it's pumpkin season. Lots of pumpkins for pumpkin ice cream and like pumpkin donuts, and also apple season at Dunkin' Donuts. Hot apple cider and iced apple cider are back. Some news to report. Donovan McNabb, former NFL quarterback, has signed with Bean Sports to be a college football analyst for their games for the Conference USA this season. And also, Freeform has announced that Pretty Little Liars will be cancelled at the end of the year. Uno's Pizza has closed down in Harvard Square. Don't know why it closed down. Probably maybe their lease was up or they weren't doing any business. And sad news to report in the world of Hollywood. Actor Gene Wilder, who starred in such movie classics as Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, See No Evil, Hear No Evil, Stir Crazy, The Lady in Red, and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, passed away at the age of 83 after suffering from Alzheimer's disease. He was one of the greatest comedy actors of all time. So sad. So prayers to his family in this time of need. And that's about it on news. My third and final video blog subject of the night is about the former whdh TV in Boston, Channel 5. whdh Channel 5 lasted from 1957 through March of 1972. It was owned by Boston Herald Traveler, which also owned WHDH radio station 850. The background on WHDH Channel 5. Channel 5 was given a permit for a television station back in the early 1950s in Boston. It was going to be a Dumont owned and operated affiliate. Dumont was a fourth network when at the start of television, but Dumont went bust and their programmings were gone. They ceased to exist as a network by 1956. And WHDH Channel 5 signed on the air in November of 1957, becoming the primary ABC affiliate in Boston, because before that there were only two television stations in Boston, WBZ Channel 4 and WANC Channel 7, and they cherry-picked the schedules for ABC programming, and ABC back then was a low-rated network. There was also WGBH Channel 2, but they were national educational television, so they couldn't carry any ABC programming. And for the first 4 years, WHDH was a primary ABC affiliate, but in 1961, they switched over to CBS because the primary CBS affiliate, WANC, was on the verge of being sold. Their parent company, RKO, was going to sell them to NBC, but that deal ultimately fell through, and WANC had to get ABC instead. And WHDH Channel 5 had a lot of local programming. They had the Bozo Show, which was a big popular kids show back in the late 50s, early 60s. Frank Abruzzo was Bozo, and he was also the voiceover of WHDH Channel 5 as well. And Bozo The Clown lasted many years on WHDH. Eventually, the reruns it was syndicated throughout the country. Eventually, those reruns were shown in the 70s, 80s, and 90s on WLVI Channel 56 and WFXT Fox 25. And also, they had other children's programming like Captain Bob and Wampa Boom. And also, WHDH Channel 5 had original sports programming. They had Candlepin Bowling in 1958, which was first called by Jim Britt, and eventually Fred Cusack, and then Don Gillis, which lasted over 38 years. And also they had the television rights to the Boston Red Sox. They carried about maybe 60 games each year from 1958 through 1971. They had a scorecard pre-game show which was hosted by longtime Celtics announcer Johnny Most, and their Red Sox games was syndicated throughout New England on the CBS affiliates at the time: Channel 12 in Providence, Channel 3 in Hartford, Channel 3 in Burlington, Vermont, Channel 13 in Portland, Maine, Channel 5 WABI in Bangor, and Channel 8 in Presque Isle. They carried those Red Sox games. It was Kirk Dowdy and Ken Coleman and Ned Martin calling the games. Also, the WHDH Channel 5 carried a lot of Celtics games back in the 60s. Don Gillis called the action, and they carried some Bruins games as well. And plus they had the 1969 Harvard versus Yale game, which was called by Don Gillis. It was the famous 29-29 game for years. And also WHDH Channel 5 had a great news department. Usually it was originally the news was 15 minutes at night, but eventually it became a half hour. Jack Hines was a primary newscaster. Also John Henning and young Chet Curtis. Don Gillis was a sports director in 1962. And also they had Bob Wilson, and a very young Natalie Jacobson was a reporter, and a very young Leslie Stahl worked for the original Channel 5 in Boston, WHDH. But the ownership of Channel 5, WHDH, which was owned by Boston Herald American, was only given 6 months for the license to carry the station by the FCC. Around that time, the FCC would give individual stations a 3-year license, but they gave them only 6 months renewal every time, because there was a lot of shady dealing how Channel 5 WHDH got their ownership, and several times the FCC was going to pull the plug on WHDH Channel 5 ownership, but somehow they renewed it. By the late 1960s, lots of rumors going around that it was, some scandal why Boston Herald American was keeping the license. There was rumors they were being bribed. They actually made a book about that, The $100 Million Lunch, which came out in 1969. Around that time, there was a new group of ownerships, Boston Broadcasters Network, that applied for the Channel 5 license in Boston, and they were going to launch to take away that license from WHDH Channel 5, and the FCC granted that for them to begin in 1972, which they were going to be an independent station, and they were going to broadcast a lot of original programming. And CBS just in 1972 yanked the affiliation for WHDH Channel 5 and brought it back to WANC Channel 7. And the last few months of WHDH Channel 5 they had to sign off the air at 1 a.m. because for the new Channel 5, which became WCVB, for test patterns, and whdh Channel 5 signed off the air in March 18th, 1972, and the next day WCVB Channel 5 in Boston signed on the air and was affiliated by ABC. And some interesting facts on whdh Channel 5: it actually carried some NBC programming back in the early 60s, including Meet the Press, and even the Johnny Carson Show, The Tonight Show, because WBZ had contract commitments for some other programming because they were owned by Group W. And also whdh studios were originally in St. James Street in the Back Bay in the late 1950s, but they were unsuitable for television, and they moved to a studio on Morrissey Boulevard in Dorchester, and whdh Channel 5 was the first Boston television station to be broadcast in color. That's an interesting fact. That's about it on the news. Now, about this video blog. I'll be back tomorrow, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google Plus with 3 more video blogs coming for you. First video blog will be about the top 10 greatest sports athletes in St. Louis history. Now, the second video blog will be about the NBA team podcast, which is on Place to Be Nation. And the third and final video blog of the night will be about Pure Hockey Retail Store. Keep calm, everybody. And I'm a Julie Button guy. Molly Rosemont of WCCO Watson has nice legs. Elizabeth Hutso so stunning, she's the best. Amy Sweezy's awesome Amy. And Linda Church of WPIX Channel of New York, such a cougar, and she's got the best legs in New York City. And Barbara Gibbs of ABC 11 has a Swedish Southern accent, and she's also got nice legs. And in the words of Willy Wonka, you lose, sir. Good day, sir. Good night.